What's up everyone and welcome back to the MMA Zone. Javier Mendez drops news regarding Khabib Nurmagomedov. Last year, UFC Hall of Famer Khabib Nurmagomedov made headlines when it was revealed that the former lightweight champion would be stepping away from coaching ahead of his longtime friend and teammate Islam Makhachev's title fight with Charles Oliveira. After Islam Makhachev and Alexander Volkanovski fought to a decision, there was a lot of talk about whether or not Nurmagomedov's absence made a difference in how the fight played out. Although Makhachev was able to emerge victorious, the fight went down to the wire, with many of the mindset that the featherweight champ should have won the belt. During a recent interview, American Kickboxing Academy coach Javier Mendez spoke about the situation, revealing that Nurmagomedov simply stepped back from cornering fighters, and that he still remains very involved behind the scenes. During an interview with the Schmo, he stated,
"One thing people don't understand, he never said he wouldn't coach people. He said he's not going to be in the corner and travel to fight camps because he's spending time with his family. He never said he wouldn't come and visit here and there and train the guys. He's never said none of that. So he's still holding to everything he's ever said, and he never said never either. So I'm hoping at some point, he can come back and help me because..."
Do you think we'll ever see Nurmagomedov corner in the UFC again? UFC Fight Updates. With the week in full swing, let's take a look at some recently announced fights, as well as an update on Guram Kutateladze, who was recently forced off this weekend's card. First up, we have two fights added to the UFC 291 card on July 29th. The first will see Matthew Semmelsberger compete against Johan Lainez in a fight that will see Semmelsberger look to bounce back from a split decision loss to Jeremiah Wells back in April. On the flip side, Lainez will also be looking to bounce back from a submission loss to Mike Mallet. The loss dropped his UFC record to 2-1, potentially putting him in a must-win situation at UFC 291. Also on the card, Roman Kopylov will compete against Claudio Ribeiro in a fight that will see Kopylov look to build on his recent two-fight win streak that saw him finish his last two opponents. On the flip side, Ribeiro will be looking to pick up his second straight win after securing a TKO over Joseph Holmes back in May. Last but certainly not least, we have an update regarding Guram Kutateladze, who was forced out of his scheduled fight with Jamie Mullarkey this weekend. According to Kutateladze, it was visa issues that forced him out of the card, rather than an injury. As a result, he and the UFC are already working to book him another fight for the coming weeks. Do you have any theories as to who the new opponent could be? Drop your predictions in the comment section below. Before we continue, make sure you give that like button some love, and be sure to subscribe to the MMA Zone for all of the latest news. Logan Paul training with Israel Adesanya and Alexander Volkanovski. YouTuber turned WWE star Logan Paul recently spent time training with UFC champions Israel Adesanya and Alexander Volkanovski. Photos were posted to social media of the group along with Craig Jones, all training together. This isn't the first time that Paul has been seen training. Quite some time ago, footage surfaced of Paul and UFC middleweight Paulo Costa grappling together, earning the former YouTuber some praise for his scrambling abilities thanks to his prior collegiate wrestling experience. Although Paul has competed in boxing before, it sounds as though he currently has no plans to make the transition back to competing in combat sports in the future. Of course, thanks to the latest training footage and the fact that his brother Jake is gearing up to box Nate Diaz before then making his PFL debut, many have predicted that Logan could follow suit and compete in MMA down the line. Beneil Dariush reveals promise made by the UFC. At UFC 289, former UFC lightweight champion Charles Oliveira will compete against streaking contender Beneil Dariush in a highly anticipated bout with title implications. Should Oliveira manage to secure the W, he'll find himself right back in the mix to contest for the title that he never lost inside the octagon. Should Dariush manage to secure the victory over the former champion, he would be on a massive 9-fight win streak. The way he sees things, with 9 straight victories, there will be no denying him the next crack at the lightweight title should he defeat Oliveira. During a recent interview with Michael Bisping for the Hall of Famer's YouTube channel, the streaking contender spoke about the situation, saying,
"The UFC has promised me, this is the first time I've ever gotten word from them where they said if you win this fight, you're the number one contender." So this is the first time from them. I've never heard that before, So I have that. But then again, I understand the fight for the BMF. That is a title contention fight. It's just it just takes place after me. I don't think they'll be able to skip me.
Currently, the expectation is that the winner of the fight will wind up competing against lightweight champion Islam Makhachev later this year in Abu Dhabi. At the same time, some have pointed out that the winner of the upcoming UFC 291 clash between Dustin Poirier and Justin Gaethje could find themselves in the mix for a crack at the belt. How do you see things playing out at UFC 289? Drop your predictions in the comment section below. Joe Rogan praises dynamic interim champion. At UFC 290, featherweight kingpin Alexander Volkanovski will compete against interim champion Yair Rodriguez in a highly anticipated title unification bout. The fight will see Rodriguez take a massive step up in competition as he fights the former pound-for-pound kingpin with the stakes at an all-time high. Ahead of the fight, during a recent episode of the Joe Rogan Experience, the longtime UFC commentator sung Rodriguez's praises, reflecting on his dominant win over BJ Penn in 2017, as well as his 5-round fight with Max Holloway.
Yair has some of the craziest kicks. He's got this Taekwondo background, but he does all this wild hit BJ Penn with a 360 roundhouse kick.
He's around that long.
He spins 300. BJ Penn up. It was
damn.
BJ towards the end. Look at this. Look at this motherfucker.
Off the top of the dome.
Bro, he kicked him with the right and then in the air hits him with the left. He's a beast. He's so dynamic.
Wow.
Although Rogan did praise Rodriguez's ground game, specifically his submissions, it's no secret that many believe Rodriguez will have a tough test in front of him in the form of former pound-for-pound kingpin, Volkanovski. With the fight being Volkanovski's first since coming up short against Islam Makhachev, many people have predicted that the champion will be looking to come out with a vengeance against Rodriguez and prove that he deserves another crack at the 155-pound belt. As the bout and International Fight Week come up on the calendar, it'll be interesting to see how the betting odds reflect the division among the MMA community regarding their predictions for this fight. How do you see things playing out in the main event? Drop your predictions in the comment section down below. Michael Chandler recalls viral tough moment. When the first trailers for The Ultimate Fighter surfaced, fans were quite entertained by one particular exchange between Conor McGregor and Michael Chandler, where the two were seen discussing the weight class for the fight. While the expectation is that the pair will fight at 170 pounds, they have teased fighting as high as 185 pounds. Although Chandler said he'd be willing to fight at whatever weight class, McGregor was quick to suggest that he would do what he's told. The clip quickly began to make the rounds on social media. However, as Chandler revealed in a video for his YouTube channel released following episode 1 of The Ultimate Fighter, the promotion actually cut out his response. He spoke about the viral clip, saying,
"So that first scene, man, and obviously that made the promo where he said, you do what you're told. You know, it's time to just." I guess express that now that it's out and everybody just watched it. I don't quite know if I didn't have a comeback. Yeah. Well, the way they cut it, it was just me like this, tapping on my chin with no,
Right.
So
in episode 1 of The Ultimate Fighter, Team McGregor came up short in the first fight, with UFC veteran Roosevelt Roberts picking up an early TKO win over Nate Jennerman. Arguably, the most notable point of the episode besides the fight took place during weigh-ins, where the Irish star was missing in action. As the promos have shown, the situation became a point of contention between the two coaches, with Chandler telling McGregor that he should be there for his team moments before McGregor shoved him in the face, sparking an incident that UFC President Dana White had to break up. Fans are eagerly awaiting news, of course, regarding when the fight may take place. And now for our breaking news story of the day. We have Conor McGregor's next fight date leaked. The UFC has officially applied for an event permit at the T-Mobile Arena on December 16th for UFC 296. Conor McGregor and Michael Chandler discussed fighting at T-Mobile Arena during the premiere of TUF. Also, Conor's coach, John Kavanagh, replied to the tweet of UFC's permit request with a dancing Shaq meme. If all of this holds true, Conor McGregor versus Michael Chandler will be at UFC 296 at the T-Mobile Arena. Who do you think will win, Conor McGregor or Michael Chandler? Thanks for watching the video. Make sure to subscribe and click the notification bell to stay up to date with MMA news every day. Here are the top comments from yesterday's video. It's heartbreaking how Aljo is treated, especially because he's a champion and always done what they wanted. Someone responded with, "No shock, cause after Aljo destroyed all the haters with beating Yan, the casuals won't stop till he loses. USADA has purchased a speedboat to keep up with McGregor. Volkanovski would murder Aljo, and I'm all for it." And those were the top comments from yesterday's video. If you want to be featured on our next video, make sure to leave a comment and don't forget to check out yesterday's video in case you missed it.